Hello, ladies, and welcome to Her Business Coffee Talk. If you're ready to scale your business globally, but your English might be holding you back, you are in the right place. My name is Nina, and I will be your host today, and I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Agneš Asodi. Agnes, welcome to Coffee Talk.
Hi, it's really nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about you and about your business?
So, I'm Agnes. I'm from Novi, Serbia. I have lived most of my life here, but also a part of my life in Hungary and in Spain as well. And what I do these days is, let's say, systems thinking would maybe be, the umbrella term for everything that I do. Um, what it does basically is to understand how big organizations work or just organizations of people, where, the focus is on the individual, but also on the system and, in the interaction of the two.
Hmm? Okay, sounds interesting. We are going to talk about systems definitely. Can you tell us what does it like? What does it mean, a system, especially in a business world?
Well, there has been traditionally a view where an organization works like a well-oiled machine. And this is basically what we are trying. People who do what I do are trying to change in a way that we start understanding organizations and as living systems, where each individual is part of the system, but also the system is greater than the parts. And all the interactions and the communication is basically the living part of the system, which cannot be managed. It can just be, inspired or led or just finding ways to work with people as an organization.
And what does it take to build a system?
Well, first it needs to. This is the first thing, just to understand that you cannot just treat people as parts of a machine, and that it needs to take into consideration how also people feel on a given day, how they feel in their environments, in their teams, what's their relationship to their manager, how the system is affecting their behavior, because this is what has been kind of overlooked traditionally. But there are more and more leaders that start to understand this, that they need to change their leadership style in order to work as a systems thinker and a leader who understands systems.
And surely witness that that the leadership is changing. That somehow I don't know. Are these HRs or maybe like new company culture actually demanding um, that part? Like look at the people, and
Exactly.
everything is around people nowadays.
Exactly. So one of the methodologies that I use is called human-centered systems thinking or human-centered systems design. And that's the name actually contains this component, being there for the human who's working and, just trying to inspire leadership in each and every individual in the company. So the hierarchies, there is a reason to have hierarchies. So we're not against that. The things that I'm talking about is not just, holding hands and singing kumbaya. It's actually about, just figuring out how to have people use their intrinsic motivation and love what they do, and that they are inspired to give new ideas, to experiment, to innovate, and how to wake the spark up in people.
You started your career in the NGO sector and later you moved into IT.
Exactly, yeah.
So, like, what skills and lessons have you brought, and like, what does it mean for you today?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's one of my favorite topics, basically, because when you don't have money as a motivator, because NGOs are traditionally not well funded, let's say that. So there's always this kind of trying to save money, and you don't get a lot of money, and you just learn how to be more creative about engaging not only people working for you, but the whole society or part of your local community. People, leaders in NGOs develop a very good sense of systems and humans and how they work and how they interact and how they can motivate them without using money only as a motivator. Of course, I mean, people are paid, but it's just not as easy to throw money around or throw money at problems and expect people to be motivated by that. And I think these are the lessons that IT should be looking from the NGOs. And I'm happy also to share these experiences with people in IT, of course.
Then we have Novi Sad Cycling Initiative. Like founding this was a big step in your career. So can you tell us more about that? Like what led you there and what was your experience with this part? I mean, totally different than everything you did.
Yeah, partially it's different. I mean, it's also an NGO, so it kind of came from an idea that I'm already, I already have the skills needed in the NGO sector, which are fundraising, public appearance and public relations, and how to engage societies, etc., etc. And where it came from was basically I at that point in time I was working in the Novi Sad School of Journalism, and no matter how many projects I did and how many journalists and editors were educated, and all the campaigns that we did and the conference, etc., the real media landscape in Serbia was getting worse and worse because of the political moment. And I kind of felt like I'm not really productive in this society. I'm not contributing to anything, no matter how hard I try. And actually, a call came from a friend asking if I can just help them out, with this new idea about making bicycles popular in Novi Sad. Again, because this used to be a cycling city, but at that point, there were only 3% of cyclists in the traffic of Novi Sad. And yeah, I just felt like I could actually contribute with the skills I already have. These are all transferable skills, and it's something that you can also teach easily because it's kind of learning by doing. You write 2-3 projects and then you can write the fourth one, right? With a little bit of mentorship from my side. And yeah, it started from there, but it kind of became my third baby. It grew and the results were amazing. I mean, now there are more than 12% of cyclists in Novi Sad. That's a huge step in 15 years. And I'm really happy because of that. And of course, another result of that was also personal relationships with people that I was, fighting with and for a good cause, and, a really great network of friends and colleagues to work with.
That part also needed some kind of marketing. I mean, for you said from 3% to 12%. Like, what do you remember some steps and how did it look like at the beginning and then later when you already got some kind of audience?
Oh, well, yeah, in the beginning it was we tried everything from posters and flyers to Facebook campaigns. And actually, I think, yeah, Facebook was really popular at the time and it helped us a lot. We organized the critical mass in Novi Sad. That's not our event. It's a worldwide event that we just kind of brought to Novi Sad. And it's a monthly meeting or just a ride of cyclists with the idea to make them more visible in the traffic. But very quickly it turned out that it's a great party for the people. They like meeting each other once a month. They learn very quickly when and where we gather, and they just started coming. So after a while, it was so popular that we didn't need any additional marketing around that. But then, of course, we had other projects as well where marketing was really, really important. And luckily, also the donors understood that, so they were willing to also fund marketing campaigns.
That sounds like power of community.
Definitely.
Nowadays, marketing experts say that community marketing is not the future, but it's happening already. So, can you tell us just a little bit about that part? I mean, did you know that you were creating a community in this sense?
That's a good question. Uh, I'm not sure. We just started out, just experimenting, making a first protest, and then we did come out in a way that we are not politicians, but we are policymakers. And we very quickly understood that just a group of individuals, it was the seven us who was in this founding group, were not enough to pressure the local authorities to make better infrastructure, to have policies in place that will elevate the number of cyclists in Novi Sad. And we quickly understood that we need to show that we have a large number of people behind our backs, that we are just representatives of a community. And that's when we actually started building this community, because before that it was just individuals who would use bicycle as a means of transportation often. But when we started making our events, like the critical mass, the one that I mentioned, or the Biciklana festival, uh, people started coming together. And one of the things, it sounds so banal now, but we had little stickers, the critical mass stickers, and they were made by the community. We would just ask if there's someone who could design a sticker for the next critical mass, and there are always a few designers there willing to make something. And then all the participants of the critical mass would get a sticker, and each month it would be different. So you had these bicycles that were completely invisible from the stickers after 2 years or something like that, and people would they wouldn't want to sell their bicycles because they had stickers on them, and people started recognizing each other by the stickers in the traffic. So that was, it started out silly and spontaneous, but then it built into this kind of, you're wearing the stickers as a badge of honor that you were in X number of critical masses. It was nice.
Yeah, and now listening to you, I'm just thinking, oh my God, brand awareness, community building. And she didn't even know it back then.
Yes, but nowadays I am building a new community. I don't know if I wrote anything about that, but I understood that there are a lot of people in Serbia that are just like me. I didn't know that I was a systems thinker until I went to an IDOU course, this human-centered systems thinking, and everything made sense. I already did it. I just didn't know that it had a name and that it had a whole, scientific theory around it. And I understood that if I'm like that there are probably others as well, and I want to connect with them just to understand where are we, like what's our role in this society, what can we unify, or can we mm, become a community who actually shapes the policies in companies, making companies a better place for employed people. I don't know. It's in the making, so to say. So right now there's around 70 people in the WhatsApp group. We had one event, and now from September we are going to continue having discussions and panel discussions, whatever formats, maybe some workshops, lectures. It really depends on who wants to join us and help in this phase.
Sounds interesting. I wish you like good luck.
Thank
And
you.
later on, we can put the link below the episode so that anyone who would like to see what this is all about, they can.
Much appreciated.
Mm. One more question for you before we start talking about languages. So you became a mother at 19 while still a student,
Yeah.
and it sounds like a big, big job for that young girl. So how did it shape you, that early responsibility?
To be honest, I was a little bit of a wild child, so to say. Having a kid at that early age just made me more focused and more aware of my time. So I was very jealous of my time. I was really keeping, things like almost with military precision when it comes to time management. But it definitely made me focused and made me appreciate, also the moments when you relax and when you take some time for yourself. It was really a life shaping experience, of course, and I would lie if I said that it was easy. But it's manageable. And I feel that I really grew as a person and was able to take on a lot of responsibility in the companies where I worked, because I wasn't afraid of commitment and of responsibility. So it's definitely, I would still say it's a positive experience, even though it wasn't easy.
And just imagine, I was 30 or 31 when I had a baby, and now he's 1 year old, and I'm still like totally crazy, and I don't know what's happening and what happened to my life. So just listening to you now talking about that, mm, great job and congratulations on
Thank you.
staying sane.
Thank you. Yeah, wow.
Just kidding a little bit. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about languages. You speak more languages, not just Serbian, but your native is Hungarian.
I was bilingual actually.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Serbian, Hungarian were the two languages that I grew up with. And then I started my first language in school was actually German. And then I think from the third grade or something like that. And then from the fifth, I got English as well. And I was a little bit surprised because the teacher asked me something in English and I replied, and I had no idea where that came from. And it was obviously, cartoons and TV shows or whatever. But I understood that, it's not a scary thing. Languages are natural and they are easy to learn if you don't have this kind of resistance where you say, no, no, this language is so hard to learn. No, every language is made by people for people. So everything is manageable. And yeah, then I learned German and English, and I studied German language and literature, so it became almost another native language. Mm, and then I went to Spain for a year, and that's where I learned Spanish as well. In the meantime, I learned a little bit of Portuguese because I used to do capoeira, and the language of capoeira is Portuguese. You can train it without knowing the language, but it's so much easier to understand what you're singing because capoeira is also connected to the songs and to the music. So it's easier. And if you want to talk to capoeira masters, you also need to learn the language because they don't speak English, not traditionally. And yeah, it was I can speak capoeira, but not the whole Portuguese language.
Sounds interesting. I know some people who how do you say like, is it play or do? Because it's
Both, both.
or
A
it's
capoeira,
also some kind of dance and martial art, a mix.
yes, yes. It's
Uh-huh.
it's a kind of combination of, let's say, martial art, movement, acrobatics. It looks like dance. I wouldn't call it a dance because dance needs choreography. And this is something that's like it. There are dance-like movements for sure, but it can be used as a real martial art in a fight.
If you need it, sometimes.
God forbid.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, there are so many people who are afraid to speak foreign languages, especially English, because people can understand, as you said, when your teacher asked you, you knew immediately how to answer, and you don't even know where that knowledge came from. But they are afraid to speak because they are afraid of making mistakes. And you are a person who, like, you speak so many languages, and I guess that probably it had to happen to you that you mix languages sometimes, that you use words. Tell us just a bit more about that, and like to encourage them to just speak.
Yeah, well, it definitely happens when I'm really tired and I mix languages up, or when I'm in a topic and my brain overcooks, because I'm thinking so quickly. Then I cannot find the words for what I want to say. They come in all sorts of languages and not the one that I want to speak in. So yes, it happens, and it's funny. It's funny, but that's, I don't know, the first maybe advice would be, don't take yourself so seriously. So what if you make a mistake? I mean, just imagine someone coming to Serbia and they start speaking Serbian making a lot of mistakes. How do you feel? I mean, you feel kind of proud, and you feel nice that someone's trying to speak to you in your own language, and it doesn't matter if this person makes mistakes. Just flip it, and just think about that when you speak to a native person. And I think that, people who are native English speakers don't really expect. I mean, they're in these places, diversity is great. So, I mean, these societies are really open to other cultures as well. Whether they like them or not, I'm not getting into that, but there are a lot of diversity, both in, I don't know, in the UK or in the US, and they don't expect you to speak perfectly. And on a communication level, you don't need much. If your intention is to, understand each other, then grammar is not so important. It will clear out in time the more you use it, but start speaking early and as much as possible and just practice. And I'm going to give another, maybe not PC advice, which is, if you have the chance, try to get a little bit tipsy with a native person, and you will see that, when you have a little bit of alcoholic courage, things just start, you will just get a loose tongue and start speaking the language perfectly. It's all in your head. Don't stop yourself because of making mistakes. It doesn't make any sense.
I love your advice. Even my students, regarding the second advice, even my students used to do that sometimes when we had classes, and it really helped them. Um, just consider it. It's
Yeah,
not bad.
yeah.
Final
Just
question. Oh, sorry.
mhm.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, just relax, in any means, in any way possible.
Final question for today. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, just starting out, what would you say to her now?
Oh, yeah, just take more time for relaxing and regaining your energy. I overdid it, definitely. I worked too many hours and burned out, and that's not an experience that I would wish upon anyone. So just, learn early on. But I think Gen Z is really smart about that. They know they know how to hold their boundaries. So they're smarter than we used to be. So I don't think this advice really applies right now. But for me, for my younger self, that is what I say to myself.
For us now.
Exactly, yeah.
Agnes, thank you so much for this business coffee talk. I
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it, and I hope you also did. Ladies, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Don't be shy. Come say hi on Instagram, Her Business Coffee Talk, if you want to grow your business or boost your English speaking skills. Until the next episode, let's coffee talk.